I would like, if I may, to take you on a strange journey.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Real Estate Realities with the Rebel Broker. My name's Robert Whitelaw, and I am the Rebel Broker. Licensed real estate broker in the state of California, member of the National Association of Realtors. But please, don't hold that against me. Welcome to it, everyone. Day 2 from the beautiful island of Oahu in the state of Hawaii. Been putting in a lot of work on just getting the place, just doing my yearly review. We talked about that yesterday. We don't need to recover that ground. It was really just more of that. So lots of trips to the hardware store and just basically upgrading things as I can. Haven't had much chance for any fun yet, but that's on the agenda. If you'd like to get in contact with me, the best way to do that's going to be through the website. Just head on over to therebelbroker.com. From there, you can send messages via the contact link. You can also send messages to me directly at therebelbroker.com. While you're at the website, you can also click on the red button at the very top of the screen titled Take the Survey to Support the Show. You'll be asked your email address and asked to answer a few questions, and by doing that, you will be entering yourself to win a $50 Amazon gift card. Now, we've already given out $100 worth of gift cards. We did one in October, one in November. We're going to do it again in December. Congratulations to the folks who've already won, and good luck to all of you who take part in this drawing by filling out that particular survey. So thank you very much and good luck. Today I wanted to hit on an interesting article that got put out by Bigger Pockets the other day. And it's titled 6 Serious Questions to Ask Before Starting in Real Estate. And I wanted to go over them not only just to kind of gauge how good these points are, but also maybe to put a little bit more of a spin on them. A lot of them are things you've heard before, but maybe we'll be putting a little Rebel Broker mojo on them and seeing if we can't broaden them out a little bit and make them a little bit more useful. And now, number 1 on their list is, do you have a social support system? And I think that one probably needs a little bit of modification. They open by saying, confidence can be easily shaken and businesses may be sabotaged with negative thinking and negative emotions. Be certain to surround yourself with similarly thinking, highly motivated, and positive real estate investors. And on the face of it, I think that sounds fantastic. But here's the real truth. No matter what you do in your own little circle of people, you're going to encounter people who tell you that what you're doing doesn't make sense or it's not a good decision. You're going to encounter this all over the place, casually, as well as from folks who you have to interact with for professional reasons. And the flip side of that coin that's sort of spelled out here is, if you do just surround yourself with like-minded people, all that ends up being is sort of a resonance chamber for your own biases anyway. And so am I suggesting that you need to embrace the negativity? No. I don't think that's necessary either. But I think the reality is that you need to get yourself a sense of internal confidence in what you're doing, that whether you're encountering negative people or positive people, it doesn't change your focus on the direction that you're going. Is it absolutely powerful to be involved with folks who are actively doing what you're doing? Yes, because there's always going to be lessons to be learned. In an upcoming interview with someone who I think is actually going to be very exciting to talk to, part of that interview, I think, is going to involve a discussion about what some of the characteristics are that really make entrepreneurs successful. And I think that while there's an awful lot of talk about who to hang out with or who to avoid, I think you simply need to try to develop an attitude that embraces both ends of that without allowing them to impact what you're doing in a negative way. And I think that gives you a strength in your ability to manage your business or manage your entrepreneurial efforts that translates into a whole slew of other beneficial things. Maybe you could call it developing that thick skin or whatever. So obviously I would suggest that you hang out with folks or be in groups of folks who are also entrepreneurially minded, who are out there tackling things and taking on things that scare other people. But here's the reality that you're always going to need to embrace is whenever you're doing something that carries with it risk or has any potential scary side to it, there are always going to be folks who are going to be able to come up with a laundry list of reasons why you can't do it or you shouldn't do it or it's too big of a risk. And that's all well and good. Most of those people are actually trying to give what they think is good advice. But the harsh question you really kind of have to ask is that person somewhere in their investing where you want to be? And if they are where you want to be, how did they get there? Are they even following their own advice? But one thing you don't want to let these interactions turn into is sort of a paralysis of analysis. The suggestion they make here on this topic is to put your thoughts into two general categories. Thoughts and ideas that propel your real estate investing business forward may often be good. Thoughts preventing, hurting, or slowing down your real estate investing ability may likely be bad. Not real complicated. It feels like it's an obvious thing to say, but I'm not going to suggest that you avoid any of these folks. Don't avoid your friend who's the one who constantly tells you can't get it done. Just don't take their advice. Because there's also going to be folks who stand in your way that are part of the professional side of the equation that you can avoid. So developing that thick skin, I think, is good. Their pro tip is to make sure to network with other real estate investors, and they suggest that you connect with them on Bigger Pockets in their forums. Feel free to do that. There'll be a link in the description of the show, in the show notes, so feel free to check that out at therebelbroker.com if you want to head on over to Bigger Pockets and get involved with some of the folks on there. I'll be honest, I initially, when I started looking into this as a vacation rental, I did go into Bigger Pockets. I did probe a few folks and found plenty of folks are willing to offer advice, but it wasn't as useful as I had hoped. So even when you find yourself in and that was just for a very specific topic. So you may find other things at Bigger Pockets, other areas that are more robust and show a lot more folks out there who are actually doing things in real estate investing. But even in formats like this, which kind of carry with them an air of authority, right? You go someplace because you're hoping you're going to get advice. If I had followed some of the suggestions that I got from some of these forums, it wouldn't have worked out as well as it did. So just always keep that in mind. Trust yourself. Just make sure you're doing your due diligence and move forward. Just as long as you're taking steps towards your end goal, that momentum will work for you. Number 2 on their list, do I know my opportunity cost? Quote, becoming a competent and profitable real estate investor takes a good deal of time and daily effort. If you choose to take on the responsibility and burden of becoming a successful real estate investor, then you are eliminating free time to dedicate to other areas of your life or another side business, hobby, or social group. Be prepared for early mornings and long nights, as well as stepping outside of your comfort zone on a daily basis. So basically what they're talking about is understanding what you are sacrificing for this, right? And that's true of everything. It was a calculation I made when I was going to decide to convert this show into a Monday through Friday show instead of just a Saturday or Sunday morning show that went on for a longer period of time. Clearly, there is effort that needs to go into that. It's a sacrifice that I have to make. And when I started doing it, it was, my kids had gotten to an age where in the evenings they kind of wanted to do their own thing. So there were absolutely trade-offs that I was calculating into understanding the opportunity versus the cost of that opportunity to pursue it. But I'm also going to suggest that you understand the ultimate payoff. If you can keep an eye on the prize at what you're shooting toward and give yourself realistic goals that lead to it. Remember, we've talked a ton about how to set up your goals and put them into a structured format so that you're tracking them and attaining them. You're going to feel much better off if you can sort of get that train of success going. In other words, breaking up your goal into smaller chunks. You're going to be able to check items off that to-do list to be able to track the momentum that you're building towards your goals. Now, number 3 on their list, do I like people? This is an interesting one. It's one that kind of threw me off a little bit. I wasn't real sure if it really belonged on a top 6 list of things that you should ask yourself before you get into real estate. I suppose it belongs there since people are going to be involved, but people are going to be involved in anything. The point they make is this one may cause some debate. Indeed, with the help of the internet and real estate agents, you're able to purchase a piece of property without ever talking to a seller. Likewise, you are able to outsource repairs and resell a home while never seeing it or meeting the new buyers. However, for most real estate investors, there is genuine joy and personal fulfillment in solving people's problems and helping buyers and sellers locally. I think it's important to point out that even if you don't enjoy socializing or getting involved with people, it's really just a question of you changing how you do things, adjusting your tactics so that you can invest without having to focus on those aspects of it. However, having said that and sort of emphasizing this idea that you can step away from the transaction and simply operate more as a completely detached investor, I would argue, where's the fun in that? I kind of enjoy going in there and getting a little bit dirty. There can't be better proof than I'm here doing all this work on the place here now. Granted, this doesn't require much interaction with any people, but it's absolutely more of a hands-on thing. So while this might be something that you need to think about for a minute, I don't think it's something that should play into whether or not you do or don't do it. There's absolutely ways for you to approach your career in real estate that can be mitigated completely by how much or how little you interact with the people involved. The only exception might be some of the folks who you're working with, but then again, you control who you're working with, so it's completely up to you. Number 4, what niche focus will make me the most happy? Now, this is an interesting one, and I think it's something that's worth an awful lot of thought, and we've talked about it before in terms of goal setting. I honestly think that some of your best investments are going, and particularly your first investments, are going to be ones that excite you not just because there's a potential payoff at the end, but because of the property itself. You enjoy the property itself, or you enjoy what you're going to do with the property itself. It's going to introduce a level of happiness. Again, as I mentioned yesterday, this vacation rental is absolutely in that category for me. The amount of reinvigoration I get from being involved with this property is amazing. It really fuels a lot of other things that I kind of work with, or things that I'm pursuing in real estate. And I'd love for the first thing that you get into to at least tickle some of those interests, so that you're getting the biggest bang for the buck, not just in terms of what your money's doing for you, but that you're feeling like your time is well spent and you're getting a great sense of satisfaction once you've worked through it. Now, here are some criteria that they offer to consider while choosing your ideal niche. 1, which local markets are highly competitive? Which local niches in real estate are highly competitive? How much available capital do you have to invest in a future real estate transaction? How is your current credit worthiness? After talking with multiple sellers, what type of help is required from local investors? And the implication there is also, when you're faced with situations where you might not be able to jump in and participate in investment through conventional financing means, explore options that might be less than conventional to see if you can't make these deals work, and then push them through so that you're just making some headway, working towards the goal, getting some perhaps unconventional participation from investors, and then still being able to generate a profit that can just help you move towards your next deal. The pro tip they offer on this one is, quote, create a list of your top 5 ideal real estate niches. Over the next few weeks, aim to take out to eat local investors in each niche and discuss this type of investing. Become more educated than you currently are on the exact niches. Then proceed to choose a top 1 or 2 niches you believe will accomplish your goals and make you happy on a daily basis. So the other implication there is to get involved with local investors in different local marketplaces. And I actually think that's a great way to do that. There's a lot of different ways you can do it. You can start with things like Facebook. You could use Bigger Pockets. You could use Meetup. is another great one. There are tons of different investment groups. I did a quick search on Meetup the other day, and all through the county, there are lots and lots of different kinds of meetups that you can go to and participate in that are aimed at different styles of investors. So explore those options and see if you can't make personal contact with someone. And that should be your goal. If you're going out and trying to get just specific answers from some anonymous digital person out on the internet, that's one thing. But if you're actually looking at building business relationships or hoping to move your real estate business forward, the internet is what it is, and it's a great thing. But in order for you to really move forward, I'm going to suggest that these need to culminate in a meeting with someone where you're actually going to be face-to-face and be able to discuss the potential of working together on different investment projects. Number 5 on the list, do I follow through on things? And I would actually make this a more general item of what are my personal weaknesses that would contribute to failure? I think too often folks, and particularly today, we get so much time with people focusing on only the good things about themselves, and we need to really understand that in order to conquer some of these things, a full understanding of what we're weak at is going to be far more important than knowing what we're good at. They go on to say, an ability to follow through is crucial. Dreaming about being able to retire young or six-figure paydays may be fun, but the effort required is immense, challenging, and available to most folks who have enough ambition to consistently follow through until the goals are achieved or a better plan is realized. Now, if you do not have this ability to completely follow through on things, does it mean that you can't succeed in real estate? Well, maybe by yourself you can't. I would agree with this. An ability to follow through. Most of your deals are going to fall apart before you even get to the point where you own something if your follow through is poor. But that simply means that you find yourself a partner who brings something to the table that you don't. In this case, maybe it's follow through. Maybe it's just a simple question of having someone in your life, professionally, personally, who you bring in to be part of the process, who's really good at scheduling things and keeping you on target and getting you through. I can think of a number of relationships like that. Typically, they're couples where one party is the one who's kind of able to spot the deals and have a good eye for where things should go. And then the other person is more of the scheduler, the planner, the person who sees what the other person has come up with in terms of what the goal is, and then sets a schedule on it. And in today's world, it's so easy to have those folks work together and make things happen with all the digital supports and tools that are available in terms of scheduling and sharing calendars over the internet so that you all know where everyone is supposed to be and when they're supposed to be there. Don't let this be something that stops you, but understand that it exists as a potential problem, but also self-analyze enough so that you're doing this for all your potential issues where you might not be as strong in the characteristics that you think are important for success, so that you can be aware of that and you can make plans to work around those problems or to overcome them as you work through the process. The 6th and final suggestion here is, am I incentivized by rewards? Kind of a silly question. I can't think of many folks who aren't, but I think it's important to focus on the nature of the reward. What is it that constitutes a reward for you? There's an awful lot of folks I know out there who it is strictly just about money, and that can clearly be a reward if that's what really motivates you. The quote we get here is, while starting out, many real estate investors do not realize a profit for at least a few weeks or months after beginning to invest. In addition, many of the daily actions and skills needed as a real estate investor require effort and discomfort as we grow into more competent investors. It's important to reward yourself. By using delayed gratification, you can encourage yourself to take daily action and push yourself towards becoming an active investor daily. And that makes a very good point, in that in the world of real estate, you don't usually start to see the money coming in for months. And it's something to just be aware of. In my case, I actually got pretty lucky. I acquired this place as soon as I put it up on VRBO. I think it was literally 48 hours, and I had someone already scheduled to rent the place within the next 30 to 60 days. So I think that first month, I'm not real sure. I think I may have rented it once. That second month, I think it was rented about half the month, and then once that I got up to the third month, it was rented actually. From then on out, it was rented out 3 months ahead, almost entirely. So there's going to be that need for you to recognize, and this isn't something that should be a surprise, frankly. If you're doing an investment, if these are all things that are calculatable at the front end, if you recognize that you're going to take property A, and let's say it's a duplex, and you're going to live in one and rent the other, and you've already calibrated yourself to what the rents are in a certain area and how long it takes to get a property occupied, because you've done a little legwork, you've done a little research, you've talked to some property management firms maybe, or you've kind of got an idea of how long rental properties remain available on sites like Trulia and Zillow, you're going to get an idea of how long you're going to have to wait to get that place rented. So these should all be part of your strategies, and you should take maybe not the worst case scenario, but something above the most optimistic estimation, and be prepared for that financially to be able to support the property without a renter for some period of time until it happens. The pro tip they give on the incentivized rewards is create a list of goals, big and small, with deadlines. It's, again, something we've talked about. We talked about this about a year ago in terms of your goal creation process. Think of an appropriate reward or prize that you will buy for yourself or give to yourself once this goal is achieved. Lastly, double or triple each goal before you achieve this reward. If, for example, you wish to set 5 appointments with sellers before eating chocolate cake, increase the number of appointments needed to 15 appointments with sellers to achieve the same cake reward. Aim high in your goals. You can do it. I actually think that's kind of a cool idea. You plan out rewards on a schedule based on what you've done that really don't have anything to do specifically with what you're shooting for. It's just some other thing, whether it's having that bowl of ice cream or a glass of wine at the end of the day, whatever it might be. But just associate completion of your tasks with giving yourself that little incentive. All right, folks, I hope that's been a useful list. I think we put some nice additional enhancements onto those that will hopefully be useful for you down the road. As always, I am forever thankful that you are willing to spend your free time with me, and I hope with every show that your investment of that time is worth what you get back in return, and at least gets you thinking, maybe gives you some things to consider that you hadn't thought about before. Thanks again for listening, everybody. I'll talk to you all next time.